Hey everybody, it's me, it's Undead Viking. Thank you for joining me for yet another video review. The game that I am going to be telling you about today is Dawn, Rise of the Occulites. I remember seeing something on Board Game Geek about this game well over a year ago. I remember seeing some of like the pictures and some of the miniatures that they were planning on putting into this game, and I remember immediately finding it very interesting just from the look of the game. And then as I kind of looked into some of the more of the background and the story that they had come up for the game, which is kind of like an alternate history type of thing. They talk about Charles Darwin and the investigations into these Occulites, these strange creatures, and how their progression, if you will, as far as the kind of genetics and the path that they take, very Darwin-esque theory of evolution type of thing. And like I said, and the look of the game just really grabbed me. But I didn't really know much about the game itself. It was one of those things where it kind of it was intriguing, but I didn't know too much. And then slowly the information of the game kind of got released and things got mentioned, and I became more and more intrigued by it. And when I was contacted by the designer, a gentleman by the name of Ben Boersma, I believe is how you pronounce his name, and if that isn't, I apologize, Ben, and asked me if I'd be wanting to maybe get a preview copy of the game to play around with, and then make a video for the upcoming Kickstarter, because as you probably know, this is a Kickstarter video. I jumped at the chance just because this looked, just basically the look and the feel of the game had, certain things. At its heart, the game is like a miniatures game, but the idea that it was like a campaign that everybody, when you played it, even if you lost a certain part of the campaign, you still like got things and stuff like that, and so you could kind of grow your tribe of these cute little creatures and have them change as the game went on. I jumped at the chance, and so that's what I'm going to be showing you. I'm going to just show you some of the basic mechanics of the game. I'm not really going to go really in depth because a lot of the game is about different scenarios, and so you play different scenarios, and as I said, your tribe kind of evolves and you gain certain powers and abilities. And so I'm going to show you that, and then after I show you that, obviously I'll tell you what I think of the game, and then hopefully somewhere along the path that we'll take together over the next few minutes. Okay, let's be honest, the next several minutes. Hopefully somewhere along the line, you'll figure out whether or not this is a game you think you'd be interested in having in your game collection. So, alright, there we go. This is Dawn, Rise of the Occulites. I'm Undead Viking, and this is how you play. Okay, this, I've set up the very first scenario for the campaign. This particular scenario is called Returning from the Hunt. And what this is that these are two tribes of Occulites that basically this tribe here is trying to get to that side of the map, and this tribe here is trying to get to this side of the map. That's where their home is. And of course, as luck would have it, they both appeared at the same time. Now this is a scenario that you can actually play with up to 4 people, in which case then you'd have a tribe starting over there and a tribe starting over here, and in which case I've actually done that. I didn't have enough miniatures to do a thing, but I just used my own minis. I have tons of D&D minis, and we just kind of played with more people. But anyway, regardless. To add to the fun, you have some terrain here, some trees that you can't really get through, a swamp, some water, what have you. But these 4 gems here are called sun gems, and the Occulites really like sun gems. And so the goal here for each tribe is to make it across, but also if they can somehow grab these gems here and claim them and bring them to their side, that's worth extra points. And obviously whoever gets the most points is the winner. You get 1 point for getting across without a sun gem. If you can get across with a sun gem, it's worth 2 points. And this scenario continues until either like one of the tribes, all of their people have made it across, or there's no sun gems left on the board. They've all been removed. Now, that's all well and good. You're saying, how actually do you play the game? Well, this game is card driven, and there's this big deck of cards, and each person gets 7 of these cards to start with, and the cards themselves. This is the as you can see, there's like the cool picture there of this guy with a spear jumping at something. Anyway, this is like the nature deck. Let nature run its course deck, and they this is what you'll be drawing cards. And you'll have a hand of 7 cards, and like here's a card, and you can just there's all these different parts. Obviously, there's like there's an ability on the card that you can enact when you play it. But there's a point total, which will be used for a lot of different things, which we'll get to as I explain. And the activate number is like if you use this card at the beginning of your turn to determine how many of your figures you get to. The activate tells you how many of those figures you get to activate. And so you have a bunch of these cards. This, because it's got a spear, is an attack card. And I'll find a this because it's just got a little yellow globe there, is a boost card. And boost cards can be used to enhance attacks and other actions that you take. And the final is a defense card, and defense cards will have that little shield there. And so that's the 3 different types of cards that have the numbers on them. There are 2 different types of cards, and you don't use them for this beginning scenario. But they are 2 different types of cards, and there are event cards. And scenarios will have certain events that will say when you turn over an event card, this happens. In this particular scenario, that is not the case. And they also have these sun gem cards. And the sun gem, when you pull a card over like this, you can see your opponent may immediately place a sun gem in any space. And so you place one of those cool gems that the Occulites like. This game, however, you do not use either of those cards, so they're not part of the deck. Normally they'd be shuffled into this giant sucker here. But anyway, so each person will have 7 cards in their hand to start the game, and they will also get these cool little tribal explanations, and there's a lot of text here, so I'm not gonna, but basically, I mean, it's actually really well done. It tells you exactly what your tribal chief can do, your abilities of your tribe, how combat works, the different actions you can do, and also your tribal tokens. And you get 5 of those guys, and they're just like little cubes, and you just would put those there, and you don't get to replenish those at any point. They're just used up as you play, and if you use them all up for the scenario, then you're out of them. But you do also get this, and this is like your genetic blueprint, and it tells you the different abilities of each of your people. So like awareness 2, speed 6, attack 4, defense 4, health 5. Now, as the campaign continues, you'll be able to start adjusting that for each of your cool little individual people. And you notice there's the chief, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And those correspond, obviously. Here's like a really cool miniature, and you can see that's that guy right there. His spear's a little bent, but you can see. So what happens is that you'll move the genetic blueprint will get changed at the end of a campaign or end of a scenario, and then you get these cards for each person, and you can see that you can actually adjust that up and down. Now, in the advanced rules, and I'm not going to touch on the advanced rules a whole lot, but I'm going to explain a few things. In the advanced rules, you can actually kind of make your tribe the way you want to. If you want one of your dudes to be really fast, you can take a speed away from another one of your people and add it to somebody else, and you can make a guy more have a higher defense, if you will, or a higher attack. So like you could totally for lack of a term, pimp out a guy to be your frontline fighter, and then you could make another guy to be like your little flanker who can move really fast and things like that. But for this scenario, we aren't going to do that. We're just going to have the generic blueprint, and if you can see, here's the other tribe. The generic blueprint is exactly the same, and there you go. So that's how that works. So the basic actions that you can do are pretty straightforward. Depending on whoever goes first, you play a card. So like like I said, like you can activate one, and like you can play this card. And see, the cool thing about this game is that all these cards have these cool little abilities and things like that. And a lot of times, like you're kind of wondering, oh, should I like play this card in my hand but I really like it. I mean, because like once you play it to activate, I mean, you've lost the card, and like so you've lost the ability and things like that. And so if you want to, you can just draw a card off the top of the deck. You can just say, I'll let nature take its course, is what it's called. And then you just draw one off the top, and you just take whatever you get. In which case, this would be awesome because like you can activate 3. And so things like that can happen. That means you can activate 3 of your people. So when you activate whatever figure you decide that you're going to activate, and if you ever played like a you go, I go type of game, I mean that's what it is. At least 2-player, obviously 3-player, you'd go around, but one person goes and the other person goes, and so on and so forth. You each take turns until the conditions for the end of the scenario are met. But anyway, all right. So you activate, and that's the number of the figures that you get to move to start with. So in this case, I get to activate 3 of these figures, and but you may be wondering, okay, well, how far do they get to move? How far do they get to act, and so on and so forth. And so these are the Hydrus guys. You can tell because they have tridents and nets. This guy has a net for a weapon, but they are like kind of like the water-based Occulites. But if you look at the genetic blueprint, you can see awareness. Awareness is what you can use is how many actions the person gets to, the figure gets to do. And obviously, like all of these guys are gonna have 2, but if you use different different options, like I said, or as the campaign continues, you might be able to raise those abilities. But in this case, they get 2 actions. Now, one of the really basic actions is just move. You can just move your character, and they can move obviously in hexes as far as they want, and they get to move 1 space for each point of speed they have. Say 6 speed. So you could just take this guy and say, I activate him, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. And so he gets close to the sun gems. And then, but remember, he's got another action. Now, the one thing you can do is you can do the same action over again. So if I wanted to, I could move that guy and I could grab a sun gem. Now, the interesting thing is, to grab a sun gem, you have to finish your movement. So if you move into the spot that has a sun gem and you say, I'm going to pick it up, that ends your movement action and you're done. So I could do that with that guy. So I can go, 1 and done, and pick it up, and he's done. Now, you can always drop a sun gem, like as you're moving. You can just flip it out of your hand as you're moving. But if you want to pick one up, you move it onto the spot, and you grab it, and then you're done. So that'll be that guy's action. So other actions you can do are kind of varied, but I'm not going to I'm going to show you. Obviously, this game has combat in it, and it's present. Combat is a little bit more complex than the basic moves and the basic actions that you can do. So I'm going to explain that after I do everything else. So, but you know, if you move a guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now maybe I don't want to grab that gem right now. I don't want to move forward and grab a gem. You can take an action that's called a ready, and the ready has to be the last action that an Occulite does. And when you ready, you get to draw another card out of the natural selection deck. And then this card doesn't have to be played by you in any way, shape, or form, but you know, this card is like, it's something you do to like have another card in your deck. Like if you have 7 cards, you can have another one so you have like another card that if you get attacked, maybe it'll be a better defense card or a boost card or something that you can use if you actually get attacked before the end of the round. So that's something you can do to just kind of add to your cards. And then for like the last action for this guy, like you can just, I'll move another guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe he can stand there, and so like if somebody wants to come and attack me there, you know, they might have to deal with another person being there. Other things that you might be able to do on your turn, and I'm just gonna not really show like keep the turn going to get to that position. I should mention, moving through like difficult terrain like a swamp or water, it does take 2 movement points to go through those spots because of the fact that you know, obviously it's tougher to move. So if you have a movement of 6, you'd move, you know, and like if you're going through here and you had a movement of 6 and you wanted to go through this, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have 1 move, like if you had 3 move and you got here, you could go there for 2, and then you can move back out, but you know, you can't move any further, obviously. So, you know, that's how movement can be adjusted by that. If for whatever reason you got knocked down because of a combat effect or something like that, an action can be done to stand up. If you don't want to spend an action to stand up, you can just go ahead and discard 2 cards out of your hand, and then you can stand up automatically. For an action, you can replenish your hand of cards. If you have, like, say, no cards left in your hand, or you don't like the cards you have, you can discard the cards that are in your hand. Decide, you know, like, well, you can discard any cards. I shouldn't say you have to, because if there's cards in there you still like, you can keep those, but you can discard some as well. And then you just redraw up to 7 out of the hand. That's an action that you can take. You can also try to hide if you're in a situation like this swamp, and you probably can't see that, but I'll show it to you here. Hopefully I can put it back down the right place. You can see it says hide 8 there. So like if you try to hide, you have to draw, you'll go ahead and you have to discard cards with a total value equal or more than the hide number for that scenic feature that's on the board, and then you can put a token underneath your dude that shows that he's hidden. And then like later on, people will have to make an awareness check, which I'll explain here in just a moment, to like be able to spot a hidden creature. And you can also spend 2 actions, as long as you have 2 actions, to reduce your figure's defense by 1 to heal it a point. You can't ever lower your defense down to 0. You have to have at least 1 defense. If you're ever in a combat, say like here is here, or not even really in a combat, but you're next to an opponent and you want to move, you can't just move away. You have to actually do a breakaway. And what happens there is that both players flip a natural selection deck card and then add their speed to the result. And then whoever is higher gets, if you're the person trying to break away and you get higher, then you can move and you can move away. You can also add boost cards from your hand to increase that. I mean, there's all these little actions that you can do that affect like different things, and you know, that's, and plus during these actions that you're taking, there's lots of cards in here with the like the flavor text and stuff that's on the bottom that will affect, like certain cards will allow you to do things while you move, or certain things will allow you, like after a combat, to maybe take an action and things like that. And so those are all these like really powerful things that you can do that the cards can affect that aren't just the numbers that are on the cards. I should mention that some of the scenarios will have other actions that are available to you, but like this one obviously is the more basic scenario, so we don't have that one available to you, or I don't have like that available to you in this particular scenario, because I'm going into a lot of different things here, but there's certain things like natural predators and things like that live around here that like will affect the board as well, and there'll be certain things that you have to do depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Other than that, I think I'm going to move forward. I'm actually going to show you a kind of a close-up of a combat, and I'm going to show you like the different card play that happens during that combat, so you can kind of get a feel for that, because combat, like I said, is a little bit more complex, and it can be a little bit daunting right away. But as you do it more and more often, it kind of becomes second nature when you play the game. So let me show you. Let me zoom in here a little bit, and let me show you a combat. Okay, here we go. We got a battle shaping up between this Hydrus Occulite, who has managed to snag this sun gem, and he's trying to make it across the other side. And here's a Pilatus Occulite, who is trying to stop him. The Pilatus will be the attacker. This will be the defender. I should mention that there is an attack action you can take called a charge. Normally, if you right next to somebody, you can attack them and just the attack action. But a charge allows you to kind of move and attack. So that situation we have here. Plus, if the attacker moves their full movement and then does the attack, you get to re-roll one of your attack dice. In this situation, we didn't do that. He just moved forward and attacked him. But that situation we have. You should also know that the attack and defense values of these two figures are both 4. They're your basic ones, and that's your target number. You want to roll below that or below to get successes. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here. Let's just move forward to the different sections of the actual combat. So the situation you have is, the first thing, you've declared your attack. The first thing that happens is that if either player has a card in their hand that is something that would be played before combat, the card will actually say that on the card, on the actual card itself. And if you have a card like that, you can then play it, and you can have it affect the situation, that the attack situation that you're dealing with. Most of those cards usually disengage the combat, like they allow somebody to get away, or like you shove the person back and so they're unable to process the attack. So we're not playing any of those at that time. So what happens now is we actually go forward, and we're going to go ahead and have the different players declare their attacks. And so the attacker takes a card. I'm not going to show it right now, and they'll place it down and they'll say, that's my attack card. And the defender will go through their deck, and they will try to locate a card that will affect the situation, and they'll go ahead. And that's a defense card. Now remember, I showed you earlier the attack cards had a spear and the defense cards had shield. So obviously, like, the defender is trying to play a shield, and the attacker is trying to play a spear. Now, and the numbers on those and the ending value is the ones that you're going to end up, that's the dice you're going to end up rolling to see if you affect or hurt or possibly even kill your opponent. Now, the interesting thing is that now, after you've declared your attack and defense and you place the cards down, you go ahead and if either player has a card that wants to play that is a win in combat card, you go ahead and take that from your deck and you play one. Now, I should mention that if you ever are in a situation where you don't think you have a good card or whatever like that, you can also always do the let nature take its course, and you can just go ahead and draw a card from the deck, and you can place it down there. But usually, if you're involved in a combat, you don't want to do that. So if you have a card that says win in combat, you can play it. And so in this situation, the defender will go ahead and they're going to play a card that says Fake Out. And it says, when in combat, you may use a defensive card as an aggressive card, or vice versa, for this combat only. So that maybe clues the other player in. Maybe we had didn't have a really good defense card, but we had a good attack card. So we're going to play that, and that'll allow us to use the opposite end of the card. So after the winning combat card is played, and you don't have to play those, you just do. So you then reveal the cards, and well, it looks like the attacker has a 10 on their spear, which of course does not bode well unless we played a really good card over here. So the defender turns their card over, and it's a spear, but remember we're adjusting it to a defensive card, and so it's an 8. And so now we know it's 8 dice versus 10 dice. So, you know, pretty epic battle for 2 really high scores. So after that happens, you can go ahead and select boost cards. Now you take cards that have a boost ability, and you can select up to 2. And so the attacker defender can play up to 2 boost cards, and you place them face down. The attacker decides first, then the defender. And this happens until both players pass or have played 2 boost cards. You can play 1 normal boost card and 1 regular card used as a boost with the same number as the first attack card. You don't have to. What that means is, and this is something I didn't explain earlier, if you play like another card with the same value, that can work as a boost as well. But most often you are playing cards that have these little boosts on them, the little yellow number. But so you can also kind of try to fake people out, you know, by like playing cards and like, you know, maybe the card isn't any good, but you can try to convince them to like kind of use up cards. So the attacker, you know, go ahead, and I'm gonna boost mine just because I, you know, don't want you, like I got the upper hand, I'm gonna play another one. So then the defender plays one, and pass, or whatever. And so then you reveal those cards. And I know this is kind of lengthy and everything like that, but trust me, after you've done this a few times, it's very, very quick. So that's a boost of 2, and the defender played a boost of 1, so now we're up to a 12, and we're, you know, have a 9, you know, as far as that goes. So now both the attacker and defender can use a card effect with the trigger when attacking. So or when defending. And in this situation, the attacker doesn't have a card like that. But the interesting thing is, you'll notice that the card that was used for the attack actually has this ability. It says, when attacking, your attack counts as +2 for this combat. Now, normally you have to play another card to get that effect, so you'd have to have another card with this precise on it. But remember I told you that you get those 5 tribal actions that the chief has? You can burn up one of your tribal actions, and you can then use a card that was already used. So we could, you know, we're going to burn up a tribal action, we're going to use that if you really wanted to stick it to them. So let's just do that for that case. And then in this case, the defender is actually going to play this one. It says, when defending, each 0 rolled counts as 2 successes. And it should be mentioned that the 0 on the dice for the 0 on the dice for this particular game counts as a success because it always succeeds, because 0 is always going to be lower than the target number that you're going for. It isn't considered a 10. So after you've got the whole when attacking and when defending, now is when you actually kind of roll the dice. And I'm going to back it up here just a little bit so when I roll the dice you can actually see them all. But as I said, you have the 10 plus another 2 plus another 2. So there's like 14 dice that this particular attacker is going to roll. And so we'll just kind of roll these. Remember, we're looking for 4s or less. I didn't roll that one. So let's see here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he gets 4 more dice. And he got 1 more success. So he got 6 successes. That, you know, wasn't, I mean, you know, not bad, but, you know, it is what it is. So now the defender will roll, and they get 9 dice. So this is 10 dice. So let's just roll all of these. And we're going to hope for some 0s. So we can hopefully do well here. And, of course, I didn't get any 0s. But I did get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes. So it was 6 successes to 5 successes. And what happens there is that there is a little chart here, and I'm not going to read it off for you or anything like that. But if the attack is greater than the defense, but it isn't double what they did, so like it's great, I do 1 point of damage to the opponent. If I manage to do double what the successes than the other person, that would be 2 points of damage. If I manage to do 3 times the number of successes, that would be 3 points of damage. If I managed somehow to do 4 times, so like if I'd gotten 6 successes and I've only got 1 success on the defense, then you would automatically kill the thing that you were fighting. The defense, the defender can actually hurt if they get 2 times the number of successes on the defense roll versus the attacker's attack successes, and then you just do 1 point of damage to the attacker. You can't really kill them or anything unless they only had 1 health in that situation. However, there is one final thing that you can do, is that after everything is done, whoever laid the highest number card can play a card out of their deck that's an after combat card. And so in this situation, the attacker who put a 10 down is going to play Steel. So after a combat, if your opponent's figure was carrying a Sun Gem and yours was not, you may take it. So that was the whole goal. It didn't really matter if he, hurting him was helpful. You did a point of damage. But he's now able to take the Sun Gem away from that particular player, and now hopefully he can run and get across. However, the thing is that you can the other player obviously has the option as well, and so they can dig through their deck and see if they can do something to their opponent. And in this case, the defender is going to play a trip. So after combat, place one of your opponent's figures that participate in the combat prone. So you may have stolen the Sun Gem, buddy, but we're going to trip you, and hopefully we can slow you down, and maybe he can get some friends, or he can turn the tables and bash the heck out of him with his trident there and take the Sun Gem back. So there you go. I mean, combat, like I said, can be, as you play it, the game becomes much more fluid, and you'll be playing your cards pretty quickly. But as you can see, combat can really burn through your cards pretty quickly, and so you have to be really careful that you don't use up the ones that you have, or you better make sure that you have the ability to have another action or something, so you can use that replenishing your cards action to replenish your thing out of the natural selection deck. So there you go. I mean, there's other parts to the game that I didn't exactly explain all of. I mean, I did show you like that one tribal action that you can take. Some other tribal actions that you can take allow like the chief to raise the awareness of one other Occulite that's close to them, including themselves, by 1, so you can get some more actions. In that particular turn, you can do a tribal action to change what a card can do. As far as like other side, just like I did with that other card that I had. You can use it to draw 3 cards from the natural selection deck and choose the best for any situation. So if you actually had to let nature take its course, you could draw 3 cards and pick one that works best for you. And then then like I said, I did the one that allows you to use the effect that's already on the deck, that for combat purposes, which is obviously really powerful and really useful if you have that available. But like I said, you only get a limited number of those, so you got to make sure you use them wisely. So there you go. I mean, that's not every single rule that's within the game, but I mean that's a pretty good overview of everything. Oh, I did say I was going to tell you how awareness tests work, and because you'll use them for other campaign reasons, but a lot of times you use to find hidden people. To resolve awareness, you just draw a number of cards out of the natural selection deck. Equal to the awareness statistic of the figure that's taking the test, and if any of the cards are worth 8 or more, then you pass, and and also if like you can use boost cards obviously for that particular situation as well. But there you go. That's that. So just so I didn't forget to do that. But anyway, there you go. That's a really good overview of the rules, and probably pretty lengthy too, so I apologize for that. Well, what did you expect? It's me. But let me tell you exactly what I think of Dawn Rise of the Occulites, and then hopefully, like I said, you can figure out whether or not this game is something you want to back and get delivered to your door. All right, here we go. All right, I mean, seriously, how can you not, like, just totally not fall in love with these cool minis? I mean, I thought about painting these, but, one, I don't know, I think I might have to return my prototype back to Ben, and so if I, like, painted them and painted them poorly, I'd hate to imagine his anger over the situation. And two, like I said, my painting skills just even though I've been like trying to like get better with like some of the Reaper stuff, the Reaper Bones miniatures that have come out recently, I'm still a long ways off from being anything classified as good. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean these minis are just super cool, and you can't help but not just like the look of them. And I think I can't wait to actually see. And I mentioned this during the gameplay portion, but I don't know when, or I don't know exactly how the minis will look with the completed. I don't know if they'll be metal. I don't know if they'll be painted or what have you. But if these are like these minis are the ones that I was able to get. For if these are the minis that you're able to get in a prototype version that's just sent off to little old me, I think the actual like production ones are going to be as good or even better. So anyway, there you go. All right, so I mean, at its heart, the game is like a miniatures kind of, sort of a war game situation. If you're familiar with card-activated miniatures games, you'll definitely recognize the idea of having a hand of cards, using them to do certain actions and what have you. As far as that is concerned, and I enjoy those types of games, and I also enjoy those types of games that aren't solely one player versus another. I understand that like the kind of the bread and butter of those games is 2 players, but since this game can support up to 4. I like that aspect. I like the fact that you aren't just constantly just you and another guy going at it, and so you have that interaction going on, and so I enjoy that portion of the game. I also like I mentioned in the preview, or not preview, in the introduction, I mentioned that I kind of like the whole idea of it being a campaign. I mean, you could just play this as like little one-off battles and what have you, and you probably still have a lot of fun with it. But I do like the idea of your tribe of little creatures evolving and moving on. And in a weird way, and this is like kind of strange, in a weird way, I was reminded of the game Spore, if you remember that game that came out several years ago. That was like 5 years ago or something like that. And the whole idea of Spore was obviously you started off as a little paramecium or whatever, and you moved on, and eventually you got to a point where you had this little creature and you were a tribe, and you went out and you tried to conquer other tribes and gain powers and abilities. And while that game had its faults and what have you, I really enjoyed the heck out of it, and I couldn't help but feel kind of like being reminded of that particular game and that aspect of it. I mean, I really can't find too much of a fault with the game in any way, shape, or form. The mechanics are solid. I love the look of it. I love the background story of it. I like the game. The fact that the game tells me a story. I like the fact that it has like you're rolling dice. I mean, it just that whole everything about it just flows really well, and and it's not that it isn't in unfamiliar territory. I mean, but it's very for lack of a better term, audacious, in my opinion, just because of the fact that there's so much to it. As far as like, if you go to the website for the creator, I mean, like he's got this whole background, this whole story, and this whole direction and you know there's more out there. I mean, it's, you know, obviously inevitable expansions and what have you, and there's more. There's just scratching the surface, if you will, at this point. I mean, by and large, if you're gonna boil the game, this particular game, just down to the actual game itself, wipe away the Chrome, wipe away everything else, is the game good? Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I played this game several times with my buddy Craig. He's kind of my go-to guy lately for me and another person playing another game, just to, you know, get the feel for it and everything like that. And we really enjoyed the one-on-one aspect. And I know I realized. Excuse me. I know I realized I said that, like, I like games that have the ability to expand out to 4, but when he and I played, we really enjoyed the head-to-head. And then later when we played the game more and we taught, like, other members of our gamer group, and we were able to, like, expand it out, we enjoyed it. You know, like I said, you know, it's like it added a whole new element and what have you. You know, but he and I really enjoyed exploring the campaign, and then like taking the game in itself and actually, like they said, you know, try to come up with your own scenarios, try to come up with your own ideas. And we had fun trying to come up with, like, different ideas and different situations that we could place our tribes in, and then just you know, going at it and having a good time. You know, I know I say a lot of times that you know, a game can be stick figures, and as long as the game is good, I don't care about the art or the way it looks. But I do have to say that I find, like, the art on the cards and the look of the board and everything else, I find just the graphics and the feel and the look of the game, the kind of primordial setting that it's placed itself in, I find it extremely satisfying to play and interesting. And you know, it's just, and they've obviously worked very hard on making sure that, like, each part of this very thematic game drips with the theme that they're trying to portray. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's just, if this is part of that part of the game, part of the review where I try to tell people, like, if you like this, then you'll like this game. If you like scenario-driven games, I think you'll like this. If you like fantasy miniature battle type games, I think you'll like this. If you like card-driven war games, I think you'll like this. If you like games with incredibly overproduced bits, I think you're going to like this. I mean, like I said, I have a prototype that looks amazing, and I can only imagine when the production copies start coming out how much more amazing they're going to look. So there you go. If you like those types of games that I mentioned, I think this game is worth checking out. I think this game is a lot of fun, and I think you'll like it too. Obviously, if you're looking for a deep Euro strategy resource engine game, this isn't your cup of tea, but then I don't know why you'd be watching this video if you don't like the whole like miniatures, kind of very, you know, I wouldn't say it's totally Ameritrashy, but I mean, definitely dipping its toes in that area. And yeah, like I said, I found the game to be a lot of fun, and it's one of those games where you kind of curse your luck or cheer yourself on as the game progresses, and you tend to start really liking your little dudes, and when bad things happen to them, you kind of take it to heart, because you don't want them to get hurt. And so when, like, if they get ganged up on or beat up by the other guys, or dare say even killed by the other tribe, you kind of take it personally. At least I did anyway. So well, there you go. Dawn, Rise of the Occulites. I will have the link below, and you can go ahead and check out that Kickstarter. And if you think this game is something you want to play, by all means, check it out. I definitely will be backing it myself, because, like I said, I probably have to send this copy back to Ben. And I'm going to want a production copy myself. So, all right. Well, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, you can obviously leave them below, and I will answer those to the best of my ability, or I'm sure the game creator will take time out of his busy schedule and answer them as well. So, until next time, thank you again. This was Undead Viking, and you have yourself an awesome day. Bye-bye now.